Om. Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-pada Shankaram Loka-shankaram Samasta-jana-kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Om Partaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayiniim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvante Devyaistavaihi Vekramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidusura suraganah Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. The Mahabharata war became inevitable, unavoidable. The place was fixed. It was called Kurukshetra. The day was fixed. And the day is now called Gita Jayanti Day. But not at that time. Both sides mutually agreed upon the terms and conditions. And the two armies arrived there. There were 11 Akshauhini on the Kaurava side and 7 on the Pandavas. Each Akshauhini consists of 218,700 warriors. So you can imagine how massive the armies were. The Kauravas were led by Bhishma Pitamaha and the Pandavas were led by Drishtadyumna. Of course, sections of soldiers on the battlefield will be commanded by others, like Duryodhana, Karna, Bhima, Arjuna, and so on. Vyasji gave Divya Drishti to Sanjaya. He was on the battlefield from time to time, but on the 10th day, Bhishma Pitamaha fell, that is when he went to Dhritarashtra to give a report on the fall of Bhishma Pitamaha. Actually, Dhritarashtra was struck with grief and he wept. After some time, with a heavy heart, he made the famous statement, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavah mamakah pandavasyaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. O Sanjaya, tell me when Mamakaha, all my sons, and Pandavaha, the sons of Pandu, Samaveta, have assembled here Yutsavaha, ready to fight. Kim Akurvata, what did they do? So that's what he asked. Then Sanjaya started saying, the army is gathered together. Arjuna's chariot is drawn by 4 white horses driven by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Then Arjuna said, Senayoho ubayoho madhye ratam stapaya achyuta. Oh Achyuta, hey Krishna, place the chariot in between the 2 armies. I want to see Chinmaya saha yodhavyam, with whom I have to fight me. And when Bhagwan did place it, he only saw his own relatives and friends on the other side, particularly Bhishma and Drona, since Bhagavan strategically placed the chariot right in front of them. Then his attachment to Drona surfaced. Possibility of losing them. The possibility of losing them brought intense sorrow. He was nervous, he was deluded, he was confused. And he felt there is no need to fight this war. Say, I will not fight this war. Then Bhagavan taught him, gave him Brahma Jnana, gave him the knowledge. And then Arjuna said, my delusion is gone. I will do as you bid me to. I will fight. That is Bhagavad Gita. It's over. We can all go home. No, not so fast. People ask, how much time did it take for Bhagavan to teach Arjuna? 700 verses. Should have taken a lot of time. When we chant the entire Bhagavad Gita, it takes 3 to 4 hours, depending upon how fast we recite the verses. We should have taken at least that much time. More of that we will discuss when we come to that. So Arjuna was ready. Then suddenly something happened. People were surprised. Sudden silence was there. Yudhishthira got down from his chariot. He started walking toward Kaurava army. Yudhishthira is very unpredictable. You never know what he will say or do. Suddenly he may call off the war. He just walking, tuck, 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 without telling anyone anything. Like they usually give a prepared speech to the president or the prime minister, but sometimes they go off the script, extempore. So Yudhishthira was like that. Kauravas also did not understand what was happening. They were all waiting to see. Then Yudhishthira goes in front of Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya and bows down. He does namaskara to them and says, I bow down to you. Please bless me. So he sought their blessings. With whom he has to fight. And when he goes and does that, they say, you have come here as per the great tradition and sought our blessings. It's good that you came. Otherwise, would have cursed you. So if they say Vijayi Bhava, may you be victorious, that means Kauravas are gone. Anyway, he received their blessings. Then he started walking back to his side. And maybe Duryodhana was a little disappointed. The Pandavas heaved a sigh of relief. Thank God. He didn't do anything. Then began the first day of war. There was maximum loss on the side of Pandavas. And they could not make a dent into the Kaurava. So when there was a gloom and doom in Pandavas' camp. And of course, Kauravas' side, lot of celebration, great celebration was going on. They all rejoiced. Today was our day. In war, how can you say this is my day and that is your day? Anything can happen in the war. The Pandavas were wondering, what happened today? Tomorrow we have to come up with a better strategy. We have to hit them hard. The second day, not that the heroes were not lost, there were casualties on both sides. That happens in a war. As the war was going on, Duryodhana was getting angry at Bhishma. Oh, Pitamaha, it seems you are not fighting this war with your full force. You're going soft on the Pandavas. When Bhishma does show his full force, so many soldiers on the Pandavas' army were destroyed. One time, Bhishma made Arjuna the target and he was miserable. He just could not handle the shower of arrows were coming in his direction. Bhagwan was driving the chariot. Of arrows were coming in the direction of Arjuna. And he just took the chariot down. And the arrows hit his crown, missing his head. That day, Arjuna was like a helpless child. I remember that Bhagwan had said he will not lift a weapon in his hand. And Bhishma countered that. He said, I will make Hari take a weapon. Then only my name will be Bhishma. So Bhagwan was put in a strange situation. As far as his own vow was concerned, he had said, I will not take a weapon. On the other side, Bhishma, who was his devotee, said, I will make him take a weapon. And Bhagwan will later say, Me bhakta na pranashyati. My devotee never perishes. His word never go in vain. Arjuna also is a great devotee. How can he fail him? One devotee says, I have to take a weapon. My other devotee has to be protected. A big problem, conundrum for Bhagwan. So he just jumped from the chariot, and on the battlefield there was a wheel of a chariot that was lying there. He just picked it up and ran toward Bhishma, who saw that and said, Bhagwan, there is no other way to die, no other better way to die than to die in your hands. Arjuna ran after Bhagwan and held him. Oh Lord, what are you doing? Why are you breaking your vow? Bhagwan was so angry at that time and still honors the vows of his devotee. If he has to give up his words, he does. So the war went on 2, 3, 4, 8 days over. Bhishma is still standing his ground. And you can see that Karna is absent in the picture. Here the great war is going on. Now the Pandavas were worried. One thing is that Bhishma has the boon of Ichha Maranam. He can die, will. If he does not wish, he will not die. As long as he is there, it's going to be very difficult. Know what to do? So Bhagavan told Draupadi, you have to go to Bhishma and ask him how he will fall and when he will go. This mission has to be done, must be carried out at night. But people will not know. I'll come with you. So Draupadi went to Bhishma. And Bhishma said, there is one Shikandi. He was a woman earlier. Now, even though he's a man now, I consider him only a woman. And I will not fight a woman. Let Arjuna use Shikandi as a human shield and shoot me. I will not resist. On the 10th day, this battle ensued. Arjuna with Shikandi in front shot arrows with terrific force at Bhishma, who did not retaliate. I've already told you the story of how Shikandi comes about. So, since Bhishma would not shoot arrows at someone who he considered as a woman, so finally Bhishma fell. He did not die. When he fell, the war was stopped for the day. He was the most revered grandsire. He was lying on the bed of arrows. Why such a great person has to lie like that? Do not know. Different people gave different explanations. He never complained. He must have felt that he was a silent spectator to all the harm that was done to the Pandavas, especially the dishonor of Draupadi. This was an atonement for that. Other stories are also there, not important. When Bhishma fell on the 10th day of the war, Sanjaya went to Dhritarashtra to give a status update. The biggest casualty on the Kauravas side was the fall of the commander-in-chief. Now there are different thoughts. Now, Bhishma is gone. Should we continue with the war? Duryodhana was adamant. No, we cannot stop now. There was then discussion about who will be the next commander-in-chief. He wanted Karna to be the commander-in-chief. Karna was a very dignified person, and he said the next commander should be Dronacharya. He is the most senior person and most competent also. He's the one, he's a teacher, he taught every one of you. I will fight now. Now that Bhishma is gone, that was his condition. Bhishma is not in the picture, so I will fight. So Dronacharya accepted the responsibility to be the commander-in-chief. While he was in charge, many losses were there on the Kaurava side. Many brothers of Duryodhana were killed. He again complained Dronacharya was soft on the Pandavas. No, I am fighting. One day they had their strategy, engaging Arjuna on one side, and they had formed a formation called Chakravyuha, a particular array of armies where the enemy is surrounded by concentric circles of its own forces, and the enemy cannot pierce through these layers. Arjuna was challenged and was engaged somewhere else. Then there was Abhimanyu, son of Arjuna. And Abhimanyu said, when I was in my mother's womb, Arjuna was talking about Chakravyuha and how to pierce through the formation. He got to know how to get in. But he didn't reveal the full story and did not know how to come out. He was ready to go in, but Yudhishthira was hesitant to send this young man, but he insisted. Plan was for Abhimanyu to bulldoze his way through with and others to follow immediately. It so happened that Abhimanyu entered, but the gap closed almost immediately, and Bhima and others could not follow through. Abhimanyu was trapped. He fought valiantly. Kauravas noticed that and wondered who it was. And then they knew this is Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son. Then they violated the agreed upon terms of engagement. A group of warriors ganged up on Abhimanyu, who was trapped, and he succumbed to their illegal ploy. So he was killed. The dead body was lying on the battleground. They always honor the war dead. But the brother-in-law of Duryodhana kicked that dead body. A totally dishonorable act. When that news reached the Pandavas, the death of Abhimanyu, their grief grew no bounds. They were worried about Arjuna, how he will take that news. Arjuna had some premonition that day. Something was going to be wrong. After vanquishing all his opponents, he was returning to his camp. There was total sadness. First, he thought something had happened to Yudhishthira. He was relieved to see him safe. They did not know how to break the news to him. Finally, when he came to know the death of his dear son, he broke down. For some time, he thought there was no point in anything, all this war and all that. Bhagwan Sri Krishna consoled him. And his anger knew no bounds when he came to know that it was Jayadrata who had done this to him. So he vowed that the next day before sunset, will be killed. If not, I will enter the fire and kill myself. When that news reached the Kauravas, they said, Jayadrata is a great warrior, equal to Arjuna and Karna. So our job is to make sure that Arjuna does not come anywhere near Jayadrata. If he is not killed, Arjuna will kill himself. He had taken that vow. And then we can win this war. So Jayadratha was being protected. They were trying hard to engage Arjuna in battle, here, there, everywhere, making sure Jayadratha was far away from Arjuna, as far away from Arjuna as possible. The whole day Arjuna was looking for Jayadratha. Finally, he spotted him. The sun was almost about to set. It was now or never. Suddenly it became dark. Sun has set. Arjuna was crestfallen. You can understand the condition of Pandava's mind. What a vow to take. He prepared the fire and all were watching. Arjuna was about to enter the fire. Suddenly the sun was shining bright. sun had not actually set. What Bhagwan had put is his desk in front of the sun, and an illusion was created. Now Jayadratha thought that the sun had set, and he said, Arjuna cannot get to him. That he was saying. And he was jumping up and down. Then Bhagwan said, it's still daylight. Pick up your weapon, go get him. You can see Jayadratha now. With lightning speed, Arjuna shot an arrow and it hit the target. And Jayadratha's head was off. Drama is not over yet. Bhagwan said, see to it that the head does not hit the ground. Keep on shooting arrows at the head and keep it afloat in the air. Keep moving that head in the direction I point and let it go. Go, go, go. Arjuna followed the instructions and they reached a place where Jayadratha's father was doing tapas with a vow that anybody who makes my son's head fall down and hit the ground, that person will die immediately. That person's head will fall. And Bhagwan said, let Jayadratha's head fall on his father's lap. And Arjuna did just that. That was a shock to Tapasvi. Yes, he was doing his tapas, he didn't know. He was totally oblivious to the world. And when something fell on his lap, he jumped. And the head fell on the ground. Since it was the father who caused the head to fall on the ground, his father's head also fell to the ground. So he fell a victim to his own tapas result. Father and son perished. It's 2 for 1 deal. Good to have Bhagwan on your side. With Jayadratha gone, it was a great loss for the Kauravas. So now 4 more days had passed. So 14 days are over. Dronacharya was quite strong there. He was invincible. He did have one weakness. His one weakness was his own son, Ashwatthama. He was so attached to his son. And Ashwatthama is said to be Chiranjeevi. He said he's still there. Anyway, that is not relevant here. He was a great warrior and totally loyal to Duryodhana. Dronacharya was so attached to Ashwatthama that if he hears of his death, he would drop his weapon. And Ashwatthama cannot be killed so easily. Till that time, Dronacharya will also be fighting. So what to do? So Bhagwan said that on the Kaurava side, there is an elephant whose name is Ashwatthama. You kill that elephant and proclaim and announce Ashwatthama is dead. And Dronacharya will want to confirm. He would seek confirmation from Yudhishthira only. Because everyone knew that Yudhishthira will tell only the truth. Everybody turned to Yudhishthira and said, You have to confirm that. Yudhishthira was put in a delicate situation. Finally agreed. So Bhima killed Ashwatthama, the elephant. Then everybody shouted, Ashwatthama is dead. And that was too much of a blow to Dronacharya. And he asked Yudhishthira, is Ashwatthama killed? Was he actually killed? Yudhishthira declared, Ashwatthama hatah, and added, Narova Kuncharova. Don't know whether it was a man or the elephant. As he was saying that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna blew his conch so loud that nobody heard the latter part of what he said. Narova, Kuncharova, nobody heard that. Everybody heard Ashwatthama hatah. So Dronacharya also heard only Ashwatthama was killed part. So Yudhishthira also did not speak the untruth. He didn't come out and say Ashwatthama, Dronacharya's son was killed. So Dronacharya dropped his weapons and sat down. Game was over. And Drishtadyumna finished him off. And you may recall, Drishtadyumna's birth was only to do that. So that was the 15th day of war. The second commander-in-chief of the Kaurava army also was gone. So Sanjaya goes back and reports to Dhritarashtra. Now who will take command? Most of Duryodhana's brothers were gone. The Pandavas felt bad. But only one of them, Vikarna. Vikarna, who fought valiantly. He always felt that Kauravas were unfair to the Pandavas. And at every opportunity, he always protested. What we are doing is wrong. That is why when he died, even Pandavas wept. Anyway, the question now is, who will take charge? Naturally, the next choice was Karna. He was the first choice of Duryodhana all along. Since Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya were much senior, they were picked first. Otherwise, Duryodhana wanted Karna. Anyway, Karna became the commander. During his time, on quite a few occasions, when other than Arjuna, he came to face in front of his other brothers because of the word he had given to Kunti. He did not fight them. One interesting story that I had told you, I will tell you. It's the story of Raja Shalya, who was the maternal uncle of the Pandavas. He was the brother of Madri. So Nakula Sahadeva's uncle. He wanted to join the Pandavas, but Duryodhana tricked him to joining the Kauravas. When Karna took charge, they were discussing how much chance they had in defeating the Pandavas. Karna said, I'm equal to Arjuna in everything. But in one thing, Arjuna has a great advantage. He has a great advantage. And that is, he has the best charioteer. Bhagwan Sri Krishna is driving his chariot. He is the best. I must have a really skillful charioteer too. So you have to find me. And they said, Shalya. Shalya is the best. Then I must have him to drive my chariot. Now that was a difficult demand. Shalya was not very happy to drive Krishna's chariot. Duryodhana pleaded with him and insisted that he should do that. Then Shalya said, all right, I have joined your side. And if this is what you want, I'll do. But on my terms and conditions. Everybody puts conditions for anything. On my terms and conditions. Yes, what is your condition? I will do my job very well. But you see, I'm a very talkative man. I'll go on talking. Okay? Go on talking. What I keep saying will not be very nice. I'll demoralize you. I will use such words that you may not be very happy with what I say. The battlefield, when you have to fight and someone goes on saying discouraging and demoralizing things, it's difficult to put up with that. On the other hand, you want cheerleaders on your side. But this is the opposite of that. He said, I'll keep on saying something. You don't want that. Okay, the boy is going for his exams. And somebody says, I don't think you will ever pass this exam. That's a terrible thing. You are already in a lot of tension. You prepared well and all that. Still, anytime you take an exam, you're always tensed up. And somebody comes and says, I don't think so. It just shoots your self-esteem, confidence, and everything. Anyway, like that. I'll do that. Karna was desperate. And he said, I don't care what you say. I will turn a deaf ear to that as long as you do your job well. So Shalya became Karna's charioteer. Shalya was quite annoying throughout. But Karna endured all that. Now, Karna had one astra called Vaijayanti Astra given by Indra. It was a single-use astra, and he had reserved it for Arjuna. And Bhagwan knew that. Bhagwan Sri Krishna knew about that. He said we must have some strategy so that he will use it on someone other than Arjuna, someone else. Now what to do? Ghatotkacha, who was Bhima's son. Ghatotkacha is Bhima's son. Funny thing, in Indonesia, Ghatotkacha is very popular. There's even a statue of him there. I had gone to Indonesia some time back, and we saw that. Of course, Ghatotkacha was with the Pandavas, and he was causing a lot of destruction in the Kaurava army. Bhagwan said, we will let Ghatotkacha wage a ferocious battle and force Karna to deploy the Vaijayanti Astra on him. Arjuna must be saved in any case. And that's what happened. So Ghatotkacha went to fight with Karna. Terrible battle. He was destroying the Kaurava army like anything. The Kauravas who were left implored Karna. You use your Vaijayanti Astra on Ghatotkacha. Otherwise, he will wipe us all out. What about Arjuna? What? When we are all dead, who would need to fight Arjuna anyway? Karna had no option but to deploy that Astra on Ghatotkacha. Then 2.5 more days were over. It was the 18th day. Sri Krishna was driving the chariot and brought it so that he could fight. Arjuna could fight Karna. You can imagine the condition on the battlefield. Almost 18 days of war. Dead bodies strewn all over. There was blood flowing and the earth was a muddy mess. In that slush, the wheel of Karna's chariot got stuck. Karna got down from his chariot and was trying to get it out of the muddy slush, trying to bring the chariot back onto firm ground. Arjuna saw that, but hesitated to shoot at him because Yuddha Dharma is that you should not strike an unarmed soldier. The other person should be, armed, equally armed to fight you. So he's there, getting the chariot's wheel out of the mud. So he cannot be holding any weapon. How can Arjuna shoot him? Bhagwan said, don't you hesitate now. Don't delay. This is the time. Karna said, you can't do that. That's against Dharma. Bhagwan said, you have absolutely no right to talk about Dharma now. Have you followed Dharma? When the Kauravas cheated the Pandavas in the game of dice, it was total deception. It was foul play. Did you stop the game? No. Where was your Dharma at that time? It is you who encouraged Draupadi to be mercilessly hauled into the court. When they were humiliating her at that time, where was your dharma? When they wanted to burn the Pandavas in the wax palace, where was your dharma? When they ganged up on Abhimanyu, where was your dharma? And Duryodhana's brother-in-law disrespected him after death and kicked the dead body. Where was your dharma? Now, when you are in trouble, you're talking about dharma. What dharma did you follow? You have no right. So Bhagavan told Arjuna, you do not hesitate. So Arjuna followed his instruction and shot an arrow. That was the end of Karna. What happened next? Next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.